Hello everyone, my name is Dominic. You might know me as VTech, formerly on Lostcast Inc. I did a bunch of TW videos in the past. It's not about me though. My guest for today is the one and the only 370 Gaming. I would describe him as the up and coming one-man bullet club of TW because he kind of just emerged on the scene alongside another friend, Curb Stomp. And you guys really kicked it off this last couple months with TW 2016 when it came out and really hyped the game up. So I know Adam Ryland's probably really appreciating guys like you right now because, I was doing 2013 with still Let's Play TW, and then a whole bunch of new people came across in 2016 that got a bunch of hype for series. Like I know you're doing Reborn TNA and New Japan,
Yep.
which I've always wanted to do New Japan, but I just can never get the right co-host who knows a lot about New Japan. Like my extent is the big pay-per-views,
Yeah.
like the G1 Climax going on right now, and Wrestle Kingdom, stuff like that, and stuff they do with ROH. But
Yeah.
and I know Curb Stomp, a guy that you will get into with your stuff with him. He's doing like ECW, which is really cool. But
Yeah.
big question right out the gate, what got you into pro wrestling? Like there's always that one memory or that one thing that was like, hey, I like to see two sweaty dudes beat the holy crap out of each other.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If that wasn't appealing enough, like I've grown up with wrestling basically my whole life. My dad would always have it on the TV, as far back as I can remember, and like my first memories are like Lesnar and Taker in like '02, and just like that crazy feud with oh god, it was like Big Show, Lesnar, Taker. They were all having like a weird three-way feud.
Is
And
this when Paul was switching back and forth to Big Show, right?
yeah, he had a like the thing that like stuck out the most in my mind. It was the first ever turn I had ever seen, and it was Heyman screwing over Lesnar, and I was just like, why would he do that?
Yeah. We saw how good that did for Big Show. Like he got an
Oh yeah,
ECW title off of that, and that was about it.
but yeah. So I mean, those early, those late '02, early '03 pay-per-views were a stick out in my memory the most. And yeah, like I said, I just grew up with it basically. It
Mhm.
was just like watching cartoons.
Yeah. Um, let's get into like the wrestling side of you before we go into TW, of course, which we could talk about that for days.
For sure.
And again, wrestling we could talk about for months. But favorite company right now? I know, WWE is a big one for everybody, but other than WWE, of course, what would you say? Like, are you a TNA guy? Are you a New Japan guy? Maybe even AAA. Like, I've never heard someone say they actively watch CML or AAA, but like, but like,
Yeah, I've not heard that myself either.
yeah, like what are you big into
Um,
nowadays for all that?
uh, Currently, like right now, I think New Japan is my shit.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, like I've been burnt out on the G1 for a while, because I watched about a week of it directly through, and day like 7 or 8 came up, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. But
It's like 4 hours, right?
yeah, it's 4 hours, and I mean, I wasn't even watching the whole show. I was just watching the G1 because the G1 matches are 2 of the 4 hours.
Hmm.
So you're basically watching like SmackDown every day without angles.
And it's all wrestling,
It's
like
all wrestling, man. There is no
Kurisu.
break. I think a lot of I look very fondly towards Ring of Honor,
Hmm.
because it was probably it was another one of those periods where I kind of like broke out in my head, and I was like, there's more than like just WWE out there. Like everybody had that moment with TNA, but like Ring of Honor, it like really affected me because Ring of Honor was so drastically different. So those are my main two basically.
Hmm. Did you find Ring of Honor through like local provider, or was it more of a online thing also for you?
It was an online thing because
Hmm.
that was it's here in Vegas. They've got the show plays like 3 times a weekend, but it wasn't playing yet, and so I'm pretty sure I just heard it like online. Like I was just like, oh, who's this Kevin Steen fella? He seems like an interesting guy.
Bryan Danielson, he's gonna go far.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, American Dragon over there.
for sure.
Um, favorite wrestler. Let's shoot with that real quick.
Favorite wrestler.
I know that's a big one because
That is a big one.
I'm playing World of the Immortals, so I mean, you go from the Shawn Michaels, the Hogan, Pat Pattersons, to someone's gonna get that inside joke, by the way, to Alicia Fox. I mean, hey,
Melina.
the range of like who you could say like, or just good wrestlers in general,
I think usually my go-to for favorite wrestler is Kurt Angle.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of that probably has to do with me growing up with him and Lesnar being the top act. But I just, over Kurt Angle's whole career of work, I mean, he's done it all. And he just does it all so flawlessly, and I don't know. That's my personal preference. It would be Kurt Angle.
Yeah, I was always fond of Kurt Angle. I thought he was a great in-ring worker who could kind of do it all if you think about it. And I'm loving his Twitter feud with Conor McGregor, and mostly the entire wrestling world right now. Goodness, but
oh yeah.
I guess it's time. Let's get into TW. What was your first TW or EWR if you played that? I know Twisted Jenny, or Shane for his shoot name.
The shoot name, yeah.
He was gotten into EWR before TW. Like, how was it for you, or do you just like randomly find it one day?
I don't remember which I played first.
Mm-hmm.
I know I definitely played EWR at some point because it was free.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got into EWR first because it was simpler, and I was like, this TEW05 just seems like way too much. You know what I mean? Just let's bring it back a little bit. We don't need to do all that. But after I got into EWR, I just started wanting a little bit more control around the whole everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw TEW, and I was like, God, I got to get in on that.
What's been your favorite save? Like, even if it's a save that you're not recording for people, like what's the favorite thing that you're doing? It could even be like a long-term thing.
Like current or like all time?
Just all time. I mean, even across like 2013, 2010, all that.
There was one game, and I only got like 2 months into it, but I before Global Force was a thing, I made Global Force, and I basically just like copied TNA at that point. I had this angle going with Bobby Roode and Alberto Del Rio, where Del Rio would just I think he like rolled him up one week, and then basically boasted about it for like 2 months in a row. I beat you, Pedro, and all this other shit. And the ratings were always good, and I was just digging the story, and it was just like that's like the first thing that stands out to me from TEW.
Oh, yeah.
It was so random too, because my intention was to bury Del Rio. But
it's like when you build the promos off of just something completely different. Like, you have a D-Bry segment with like Shane McMahon, and they're not even talking about the current state of the roster or the brand split. They're talking about how Paige and Del Rio got split up in the draft. they're like, man, we really ruined that one, and Big Cass and Carmella, but
yeah, that's right.
Switching that. TW on YouTube. What made you record TW on YouTube? Because that's like a random thing. I know probably before TW you've probably done other stuff, because I've seen on your channel you did like the game that I love to play is Video Game Tycoon.
Yeah,
which I think should come to phone and all that, but I have it on Steam. It's really great. But like, what made you say, hey, I'm gonna record a text-based? I call it a strategy game, because you really have to think about like what the heck you're doing. You can't just be like, all right, Texas Bull Rope match, AJ Styles. Like, no, you can't just throw that together. But
that's interesting. I would definitely agree that it would be could be considered a strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've always been into like video editing stuff. Like when I was like a really young kid, and I shouldn't have been like fucking around with Sony Vegas. I was making awful video montages of random clips from '07 and '09 and just weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I started to see other people's TEW series, and I forget oh my god, I forgot the channel name, but it was like two or three guys, and one of them was Lieutenant Chubb. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I'm trying to remember. It does
Oh
sound
man,
familiar because there's not many people that do like group recordings of TW. It's mostly just like them.
right.
But like once in a while you get like a huge group of people where it's
Yeah,
like you remember. Like I know New Legacy,
yeah,
which is a quick fun story. The day that I announced I was gonna do a Lucha Underground series,
yeah.
they did like a 6 hour live stream on Lucha, and I was like, "Welp, I'm done. I can't compete with that. Like no one's gonna watch my series after that." Um, I was so excited. I was like, I got all the editing and I just have a microphone, like all this cool stuff set up, and they do a 6 hour live stream, but
That is funny. I would just delete it though. You didn't have to like stop it. You know what
yeah.
I
Well,
mean?
that was when I was doing Lost Cast stuff, which
Yeah,
quick side thing is I noticed you love the TNA stuff, and I know a lot of people love TNA stuff on TW because it's such a good thing to book and be like, all right, here's the company that is the second best thing, the alternate product to WWE. Like, what if they got over them? It's
yeah.
that just that easy to book and really enjoyable to see people do because you
It's
can
an
relate to the story.
it's an easy fantasy prospect.
Hmm.
Everybody can imagine that.
So that was the thing
Hmm.
of early TW seeing people book it.
Yeah, yeah. I had seen them on there, and they always sounded like they were just having a ball.
Hmm.
And I'd also have conversations with my friend OG Dugan on YouTube. We'll do a little plug there.
Hmm.
But we always had this idea of doing games on YouTube and kind of getting big together. And he's more on the anime side of things, and I'm more on the wrestling side of things. And
Hmm.
we ended up doing separate like career because he's up to he's past 700 subs, and I'm at like 960. And so yeah, but it was part the original guys I mentioned. They always seemed like they had such a ball. I thought, well, maybe if I do a series, I could meet up with some people. We could do a series and it would be fun. It'd
Hmm.
be more fun than me just sitting here doing it by myself. And then I had the added drive of my friend pushing me to start a channel, get a channel going, and yeah, so that was that.
So now time for a good segue. Speaking of
Yeah,
collaborating with people, Curb
yeah.
Stomp, how'd you set that up? I know,
I
like
just said that.
that was a crazy one, like out of nowhere, because at the time, Curb Stomp was still kind of new to the TW scene, I believe, in terms of like recording it, and so were you. Like you guys came around like the same time, um,
Yeah.
and you guys really kicked it off there. I know Curb Stomp was doing other stuff, and he already had that like respect of the wrestling side. And I can't remember what you were doing. You're probably just doing random gameplay, right? Or were
For
you
what?
actually like reviewing, uh, or talking about wrestling also,
In terms of what? Like what are you
like what you did
saying? What were they?
before the TW?
Oh, nothing. I was doing
Oh.
sporadic YouTube uploads. Nothing.
Hmm.
Nothing.
So it really was TW that kicked you off.
Oh yeah. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, for sure. Like from sub 1 to sub 960, it was all basically TW.
Hmm. How'd you kick that off? Collaborating with him, like did you just hit him up one day, or did he hit you up and you're like, we're getting a lot of momentum and let's just ride the hype train and be like the two favorite series right now going on, um, your ECW and my TNA Reborn, New Japan. There's another series you had. I can't put my finger on it, but it was another
The
big one.
the local to global?
Uh, you had like a logo for it or something.
Yeah, that was the local to global
Yeah, and
series.
it got bought. You had like a storyline where like I think was it Jimmy Fallon or someone.
Jimmy Kimmel, yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel bought bought you out of bankruptcy, and I was like, what in the world? Like I did ridiculous stuff. Like I'll admit that. Like I'm the type of guy that I let people have too much free reign when I'm like, all right, we're shooting from the hip tonight, and
Right.
they're like, all right, what are we doing? I'm like, anything you want. And they look through all my user characters and they're like, let's do Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton in TW. And I'm like, what?
Why are those user characters?
Well, I have a whole folder of like random celebrities, like PewDiePie's on there, and like Justin Bieber, and I got Gabriel Iglesias, like some George Lopez, like all these people. And
oh my god,
I should really, I have a bunch of cuts that are like, you know, random cuts.
You need to share those with me after this. That sounds phenomenal.
I got a master folder. I'll send it to you. But you know, I'm getting really like. And if Adam Ryland, if you're watching this, I know you can't do anything about it because I always give him a hard time about it. I'm like, please up the 30,000 images because I actually hit 30,000 images, and I'm like, after you hit 30K images, the game's like, nope, you can't change the image. There's too many hexadecimals or whatever. So.
Oh wow.
But I've been jumping around. I'm sorry. Curb Stomp? How'd you? Did he hit you up?
We're gonna start through this step by step. I don't mean to give you too long answers here, but
I'm good for it.
I'm not remembering right off the top of my head, so we'll have to work forwards here. I saw his ECW series one day, and this is how I remember it. Perhaps he has a different like recollection of it. I mean, it was so long ago. But I saw his ECW series, and I liked what he was doing. And around the same time, he got his channel up. He got a few subs, and I put him over in a video, and he was like, "Oh, cool! Like, thanks for putting me over." And
it was like, I put you on the map.
No, I'm not saying that. I just I gave him a shout out. He was like, "Oh, thanks for shouting me out." You know, he had made some comments that I had like kind of like more or less like inspired his series. Not that I inspired him. Like, oh man, you know, but he saw my series and was like, this is something cool I could do, you know what I mean? And I forgot like how the conversation got set. I think it was just that. I think it was just us rubbing each other's backs and just being like, hey man, you're great, you know? No, man, you're great, you know? And then he just fucking skyrocketed like in pop. Like he just got an ass of subs just out of nowhere. And I had planned on asking him to do a series before even any sort of like exponential growth, but apparently he had the same plans because we we got in DMs and we were talking about it, and we got in Skype, and as I recall, we had like an off-on 12-hour Skype conversation. And we pitched ideas for this series we were gonna do, and we were gonna one of us was gonna like turn heel, like we're just shooting here. We were gonna turn heel. One of us was gonna turn heel and like start like a war, you know. And we were like, well, we don't want to do that because like the guy, everybody's gonna join. The guy, by the way, 95 on that Jeff Jarrett angle. Love it.
I like to think he just came out there, trashed the crowd, and they loved it for some reason. Like he turned heel, and they loved him more as a heel than as a face. Yeah.
Dude, they're throwing chocolates and flowers at him.
Yeah.
They love him so much.
You should have had Curb Stomp, literally, Curb Stomp like something, like have like a binder and like your logo, or have your background is yours Bray Wyatt or the I think it was Seth Rollins?
Yeah, it was Bray. His was Rollins, mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And straight up have like a Curb Stomp and be like, I'm turning to heel. Because you always need that one person who will have a good fight with you, and like I'll get into like my experience later, but you continue with yours right now. And making him turn heel, like it's kind of crazy because you know that's kind of risky for a channel also, which is a big thing. But
that was the gist of what we came up to with was like neither of us can turn heel. That's like an awful idea because everybody's gonna be all about the other guy because you're just an ass. Like who's gonna join the guy that just randomly decided to be an ass? Because you know we're, as I recall, we're like roughly level playing field at that time, like roughly equal subscribers. Probably 10 or 20 off, I don't know. You know, and everything seems friendly, blah blah blah. Then one person just starts some shit, and then depending how deep you wanted to go into kayfabe, it's it could come off pretty bad for that one guy that turned heel.
You could have just started really small and been like, all right, I'm gonna take your best talent, like pull the WCW on this thing, and then get really aggressive about it, like.
Yeah.
For my TNA versus ROH that I was doing with my friend Zach, which was different because he was part of the channel.
Yeah.
You really couldn't, go and just troll his channel and be like, dislike all of his videos, hate him. Like, it would literally be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to watch the next episode and be like, is he going to take Christopher Daniels from ROH? And it's like, nope, but Christopher Daniels is going to get injured. And it creates that good rift, and it's like, you don't know what's going to come next, which is pretty good.
For sure.
And you did this for about a week, right? Or
what the...
You versus Curb Stomp. I can't remember if it was a week thing or...
It was... well, it ran for about 3 weeks until he had to go take care of some stuff. The first week was... We had basically set it up, and then we cut a promo on each other. He cut like a scary Bray Wyatt promo, and I cut a fucking Hulk Hogan promo.
I wonder who was going to be the heel then. Yeah, my mom loves Bray Wyatt. She totally doesn't hate him and says he's a Satanist. Like, straight up, she was like, I don't like him. He seems really evil and like freaking. If you remember the Charlie challenge and like all this weird stuff that people did back last year.
Yeah.
Have Bray Wyatt with a Ouija board. Oh god.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, he's doing his gimmick right then if she's freaking out about it.
Exactly. This was at Mania. Mania wasn't even scary. Like, he did last Mania, he did the scarecrow thing. It wasn't even too bad. Yeah.
The scarecrow thing was creepy, I thought.
I thought it was pretty cool because like he's got that like backwoods, get off my lawn type of attitude and all that, but
yeah.
Don't want to spoil any plans, but any big plans for TW? Not like your single saves, of course, but like what you would plan on doing, like after you hit the big conclusion of a series, or even bringing a series back, or if you kind of like, do you just do like play whatever you want to play in terms of like a series, or you set out and you're like, all right, today's the day, we need to do a big episode of your local to global challenge. We're gonna get Jimmy Kimmel out there. He's gonna cut some promos. Like,
well, I mean, as you saw, I mean, I don't know if you saw, as some people saw, the Jimmy Kimmel deal was because I had just gone bankrupt, and there was no timing on that. That was just, oh shit, I fucked up.
That was 2016, right?
Yeah.
And I'll admit, 2016 going bankrupt, it's like not as much of a big deal as 2013.
Oh, was that 2016? No, it was 13.
Yeah, 2013, it's like, it's a much bigger deal because they shut your company down, everything's gone. 2016, like, if you go bankrupt, I think they're pretty much like, you lose a lot of popularity and a bunch of money. Like, it's hard to get back, but it's not as immediate as shutting the whole thing down when you go to the next day.
Exactly. That was it. And then you were just shit out of luck, and you had to start over from scratch, and that was it. And I was like, I'm not doing that. But and so I mean, in terms of that, no, I basically just run with the series, try to make every episode like as eventful as I can, and then if something good comes from it, or if I do have a plan, I mean, I might plan it out for 2 or 3 episodes ahead. Try to build it up, but the only thing right now that I have is I do have a big for the TTW company, I do have a big 1,000 sub video plan, and that will involve the company from my local to global challenge, and that's all I'll say about that.
Nice.
Give you a teaser there.
nice teaser at the future and what's gonna go on. I don't know if you could hear people in the background or dog or whatever was flipping out. Always does. Never fails to impress. But anything else you can think of? TW experiences, stuff of that matter. Forums, favorite modders, databases you like.
I never hung on the forums very much. I lurked there, and I lurked for those topics where people were like, oh, do you have a like I got Adam Cole and I got Kenny Omega. What do I call him?
Did you ever see the secret feature?
And I know about it. I've seen it happen to somebody else. Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah, I've seen it happen to someone else. I've never had it happen. And I'm like, I'm kind of mad because like I played this game too much. Like if TW, like I think for my next big suggestion, I'm gonna say Adam Ryland, my friend. Aside from 30,000 plus images, I would love if where you have your achievements for the game, if it would tell you how many hours you've played, because I
That
would
would be
love to
nice.
just screenshot it and be like, look at what I could have done, like actually getting into the wrestling industry at that point.
Yeah,
Like,
really. But yeah, that's a good idea because Steam. That's a big feature on Steam is how many hours have I played this game, and
hmm
that seems TEW seems completely fit for that.
hmm Now I have to ask you this because Shane, on my last video,
Uh
kind of
oh.
made me a little sad. Did you buy
Yeah.
TW? Or you are part of some underground Illuminati ring conspiring against Grey Dog Software?
I mean, you want me to shoot straight with you?
Shoot from the hip, dude.
Well, I bought 2013,
Mm-hmm.
and when 2016 came around, I did not have money. I
Mm-hmm.
literally was totally completely broke,
Mm-hmm.
and I could not buy it at the time. So I had to do what I had to do.
I had to get my hand on the new content.
I had to, man. I had to, the series, needed to be moved on. Everybody wanted the new TNA series to get going.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't wait further. So I had to do what I had to do. There was nothing. I Also, another thing about it, I'm not trying to be like a fucking martyr rebel or some shit,
Yeah,
but
it's like I bought one of them, and there wasn't much changes to this to justify
yeah, I'm
another
not gonna be like
35.
that, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the licensing gimmick. I
Yes.
plan on getting a new computer like
Mm-hmm.
fairly soon. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not like tomorrow, but pretty soon. And buying it now would be a little counterproductive when I'd have to go through
Mm-hmm.
the whole gimmick of trying to transfer the license, trying to email people. I've seen so many people try to email Adam, and they're just having no luck.
Yeah, I'll shoot real quick. It's good you mentioned that because when my my old computer that I played TW on for
Yeah.
countless of years, like 2010, even like EWR stuff like that, like back when they had music. I know they got music now for this, but I always switch it to like EC3's theme song, so it makes me feel really good when I start up the game. But so it's like, ladies and gentlemen, EC3. Yeah. Um, I remember my computer died, and the licensing is bound to your motherboard. All that was dead for me. When I got my new computer, I built it, and of course I tried to put in the code. It was like it's used. This was for 2013.
Yeah.
Of course, all my series, everything I've ever done, thousands of pictures gone down the drain. I'm mortified. I'm sad. I have to stop my TNA series, which I did hundreds of videos for, and I messaged not Adam, but you have to tag Adam when you send the email. There's another guy through support. He took about a day or two to get back to me, so it's somewhat fast. But I know when you're ready to play TW, you want to play TW. So
Right.
yeah, I know it can be really tricky with that. With unlicensing, what I found out works best. Put it on external hard drive because
That's a good idea.
on this computer I had Windows 8 and then I went to Windows 10, and if you do that, it unlicenses it also. Like,
Oh.
or not unlicenses, but you need to tell them to get rid of the license, because I just got the license back, and like a couple of days later I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to deactivate it and reactivate it again, because I just went to Windows 10. There's like the changes and settings and stuff like that. But if you put it on external hard drive, you're good to go. Not gonna be like low key shady and say it's gonna work on every other computer that you put that external hard drive into, but it might. But but yeah,
So are you saying the licensing will stick to the hard drive or
yeah. At least it did for me.
that would be
But I mean,
nice?
I
'Cause
don't.
I got a couple hard drives laying around. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I don't have a bunch of computers, so I
Yeah.
mean, I got this computer and like a laptop, but I try to run it on the fastest one because of the load screens and some of the databases. But what's your favorite database?
My favorite
Kind of just like
database.
transition to that, I guess.
In terms of what? Like what?
I know it's kind of
What
hard to pick
criteria?
because there's like the main one, which is the big one, which is Flaish's stuff, the monthly coming out,
Yeah.
and then there's Mildly Amusing, which is more about the indie scene. Like he focuses really heavily on that.
Yeah.
There is War of the Immortals,
Right.
which has everybody throughout time kind of mixed up. The 9000 verse, which adds like crazy video game, anime, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
There's throwbacks with the Mod Squad and stuff of that nature with Gennady. I'm trying to think. There's a big one I'm missing. It. I'm really sorry. Oh, Ruthless Aggression, 2004. Like all those throwbacks. But
Right.
what would you say? Because I think you do more of the modern day stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know
Yeah.
Curb Stomp does the 2001 ish. I think ECW lives. Or actually,
Yeah.
might be more up to date, but.
No, that's yeah, it's about 2000, 2001.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. There was. Oh man, what was the Ruthless Aggression? That was '04. That came with the. Oh man, what am I trying to say? The Player's Guide. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Um. Yeah, because it had like you would open it up, and I believe it was a PDF file, and it had like
Yeah.
the like cut where it was like SmackDown, Raw, or it might not have been SmackDown Raw at that time, but it had like each company and things that was going on. Like
Exactly.
it was pretty cool. It was really well put together, and I think that's someone someone at Great Ox Software should pay the mod makers, because I know you can't. I'm gonna shoot real quick. Also, you can't really sell TW based on the wrestling booking simulator of the Cornellverse too much.
Right.
I played the Cornellverse. It's not bad. It's put together nicely. But I think if you want
Yeah.
to expand that horizon, you got to get like one guy who at the time, I guess there's like different eras of wrestling online that we look at, like what culture's big right now. New Legacy Inc. A couple years ago was really big for me. But back then it was all about Tony the Pizza Guy, Tubby Emu,
Right.
guys like them. And I think when Tubby Emu first played this, he didn't do it with a mod, and I was really sad about that, because I think that's something people should look at and be like, all right, I want to rebook my favorite era of TW, and then you have that era of what if I go back in time and Brock and Goldberg actually had their good match and they weren't on their way out. So
Right. Right. But yeah, in terms of that, I absolutely agree with that. I also want to put over the Who 87
yeah,
for doing
he did
doing
the big one, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And in my tutorial video, I made a tutorial for people in case they need to figure out how to install mods, things like
I
that.
want
I
to
put
thank
the
you for
Who's
that
data.
so much, because
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't need the help, but I think a lot of people, other people do. Like I remember in 2013, and it was funny because I was yeah 15, 16 at the time when it came out, and I got messaged by a much older gentleman, and he was really
Oh,
nice, and he was like, "Can you help me out, hook this up?" And I was like, "Ah, sure, why not?" And he was like really nice, and I was happy that I was kind of tech savvy, and that inspired me to make a video on my laptop with my Spider-Man background. But then 2016 came out. I made the first day I decided to make like how to change music, how to change background skins, how to change like all this stuff, and a lot of that is gone now. I don't know if you've heard the story with Lost Cast. I don't even know if you watched any of my videos. You might have seen like one. It was like, it's crap, because that's just it was just a group of friends talking, and very cancerous to the community, I guess.
oh man.
Some of it was
Very,
good,
very
but
cancerous.
it's
Seem like a nice guy. I mean, I'm not gonna put you over, you know.
well, I mean, when you add all the personalities, sometimes people get crazy. But
Yeah, yeah, I could see. Yeah.
a lot of that stuff got deleted because, of course, YouTube and I'm gonna say money, people wanting their fair share of the monetization of things. So yeah, all that is gone. All the tutorials, all of the everything I've ever done in TW on that old channel is gone. Just kind of sad for my older fans. I can't go back and see that, especially because I don't
Right.
have any of my old videos on my hard drive, because I was on my old computer
Right.
when that died too. So it's kind of like starting all over again. So
Exactly.
maybe I'll have my Chris Jericho second coming. I'll do like a little save us VTech thing. Yeah,
Hopefully.
that'll be cool. But anything else you want to do to close her off? We had a good discussion.
I think so.
About 35 minutes, yeah.
No. I mean, I'm not very good at closing.
You know what, I'll do the closing. Don't worry.
All right.
Any people you want to see on here? Like, is there any people that you're like, all right, I want to hear their story of why they love wrestling, what got them into TW, hear them shoot a bit too. Anybody? I know.
I'd love to hear Curb Stomp if he would get some time in his busy schedule. I do understand he's got a pretty full load, but if he could get on, that would be very
And
interesting.
so does it still. Let's Play TW. I already messaged him on
Oh,
Twitter,
yeah.
and he was like, "Yeah, hopefully within the next month, because
Yeah,
he's really
yeah.
busy." But
Yeah, they're both good guys. They just they got lives happen, unfortunately. Not for
yeah.
me, I have no life, but that's you could hit up my boy Max Marvelous. I think he's a very interesting fellow. I think he'd have plenty to say. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to think.
Do you know Jim Dot?
No.
No. I'm trying to think of who else is really big into the TW scene.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Because for a while it was really you, me, Curb Stomp. Jim Dot was doing WWE, and that's really all I can think about. There was a guy who was doing Progress, I think.
Right now?
Maybe.
Because I know No Legs, my boy No Legs is doing a Progress save right now.
It might be him, actually.
I'm sure he'd be a good interview as well. But yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind, if I don't know somebody, or I don't know the original guys I mentioned, Lieutenant Chubb and him, they were the only ones I had seen. Like, I had no idea like there was like a community until I started making the videos. I would go to reddit.com/fantasybookers, and I'd see
I think that's
videos.
a big thing for you too, by the way. Not to cut you
Yeah.
off, sorry.
Oh,
but,
yeah, no.
That's a big thing for you and a lot of other guys is they got the Reddit scene on here. Like, I never knew about Reddit, like, at all. Like, I thought Reddit was like the ugly stepchild of Tumblr,
Oh, Jesus.
and then I realized it was actually the way it was backwards.
Yeah.
And I got on Reddit. I'm like, people are so nice here. Like, I was like, no one's calling me an Apache helicopter. Like, it was really nice. And I think it's called Be the Booker. That's like a
Yeah.
big one where like the Let's Play TW people are, and of course Total Extreme Wrestling. I guess is it /R, whatever that is. Yeah, a lot of you guys got the Reddit scene going. So.
Yeah, I'd like to think I did. that would help because they gave me that kind of confidence. Like, I could post it there, a couple people would see it at least. Maybe I'll get a view or two from Reddit, and that'll keep me going. And it ended up being quite a few more than I thought. So that was a pretty crazy start.
Well, if that's everything you can think of, I think we're gonna close it off, and thanks for having you. I know it's been a crazy day probably.
Oh yeah, I've been up and down doing all kinds of things, so
but, thanks a lot. Of course,
no problem.
go check them out. If you know some people you want on here, leave them in the comments below. I will hit them up in the Twitter DMs or harass them on their own comments or something, or send Shane after them or someone else. But
that's how he got to me.
that is how I got to you. I was like, Shane, there's one person I want to get. I was like, 370 Gaming seems pretty chill. So does Curb Stomp. Anybody else you know? And he's like, nah. He named off the people that we record with, and I'm like, I kind of want the people that record TW, like not people who join in, but like people that actually record it and have to go through that editing process and stuff. Because that,
For sure.
in mad respect, like we go through that stuff. Like, I haven't been crazy on the editing because I've been doing other stuff than TW, but and so have you, definitely, with Game Tycoon and all that. But yeah, check them out, and ladies and gentlemen, until the next time we talk,